Welcome, welcome, welcome. And again, we get another lifeless, gutless performance from our New York Mets. Just after Steve Cohen gave the whole franchise a vote of confidence, the Mets just coming off of a win. They have Scherzer pitching tomorrow. Perfect opportunity to go on a win streak. Spit the bit, lose again. Allergic to winning. Allergic to winning. All right, well, thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to go over another lifeless loss by our New York Mets. Then we're going to go over the comments from Steve Cohen. I want to mention a couple things that stood out about the press conference. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my decision about the season and how I really feel. I've been going back and forth, and I've made up my mind. Okay, so let's get into this game. Kodai Senga. First, again, as always, I really appreciate all the comments that keep coming our way. They're amazing. They're wonderful, just like you. If you can continue liking the video, subscribing, helps the channel immensely. I promise I will do my very best to inform you as best as I can. Okay, so to get into the game, Kodai Senga was on the mound. Before the game, they were talking about how Kodai Senga's got the nastiest pitch in all of baseball. He's got a 58% whip rate, meaning that pitch, people swing at it more than any other pitch, more than any other pitcher. So he's got a nasty, nasty weapon right there. So, I mean, I'm feeling good. Steve Cohen just had a great press conference. We won yesterday. Scherzer's going tomorrow. Kodai Senga's got a nasty pitch, and he's going up against the Brewers. The Brewers got a bad offense. Yes, good formula. We're going to win. Okay, top of the first inning, Yelich doubles. Contreras strikes out. Tellez strikes out. Okay, not bad. We're looking good. Base on ball to Willie Adames. Winker gets a double, 2-run score, 2-zip, already down. We're in the hole. The Mets are like the worst team in the first inning. Okay, all right, so I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's respond. Let me not give up yet. Let's see how we respond. Okay, bottom one, Nimmo flies to center field. Marte strikes out. Lindor, weak ground ball to second base. Kodai Senga just went through a very, very tough top of the first. Meanwhile, Wade Miley faces the Mets. Easy. 1, 2, 3. Kodai Senga has to run back out there for the second inning. I mean, we have to change our approach. Start taking pitches. Working the count. It is an art. We used to do it well last year. And there's a lot of the same guys. I just don't get it. Like, how did our philosophy change so drastically in one season? That's why I think it has a lot to do with leadership. But based on what Steve Cohen's saying, it has a lot to do with only the players. And we're going to get to that. Okay. So advancing in this game, bottom two, Pham hits I'm telling you, a bomb. The ball's exploding off his bat. The guy's had a couple hits this game. I mean, Tommy Pham, great job, Tommy Pham. I love it because he's increasing his trade value. So that is really good stuff. Got to clap my hand for Tommy Pham. He's one of the only guys with a heart right now. He really is. That made it 2-1. And then this is where the game was over. Let's advance all the way to the fourth inning. And if everybody remembers, Lindor gets on with a walk. Pete gets on with a single. Pham gets on with a walk. Bases loaded. Alvarez walks and drives in a run by walking. Okay, it's 2-2, tied up. We still have a golden opportunity to score a lot of runs. Bases loaded. Alvarez just drove in a run with a walk. This is where we blow it open. This Kodai Senga's on the mound. It's 2-2. We're going to blow it open. Okay, next at bat. Brett Beatty strikes out looking. Okay, all right. We still got 2 more outs left. Kana comes up next. 5-4-3 double play. Inning over. Game over. We are done. You got to capitalize in that situation. Come on. This is ridiculous. Our opportunities are there. We're just not taking advantage of it. Then after that, bottom of the fifth inning. Bottom of the fifth inning was really kind of nothing really happened in that inning. I mean, the game really was over there. The Brewers scored another run, but we're going to go to another eighth inning from hell. So we'll go to that inning because it's very controversial. And, I mean, these eighth innings are killing the Mets. They are killing the Mets. So basically, two guys are on base. Weimer, he's the batter. He gets hit while he's swinging. He gets hit on the hand. All right? So after he completes the swing, he drops a bat. And you do that because if you're moving and the bat's not in your hand, you can't take a swing. But the plane of the bat already crossed home plate, and it was a full swing. And then he dropped the bat. Buck goes crazy. The umpire behind the plate did the right thing. He appealed to the first base umpire, but right away, the first base umpire, Copa, he goes, no, it's a hit by pitch. Go to first base. Okay, I knew right there things weren't gonna work out. I mean, we were already down 3-2, so I already considered the game over. But at that situation, it was bases loaded. Yelich comes up, and Yelich looks like a shell of himself. I mean, the plays he made in the outfield, I mean, the guy looks like a little leaguer out there. Good for us, but the guy's just not playing up to the level where he was a couple years ago in his MVP year. But against the Mets in this situation, he just has to come through. So, Ottavino's in the game, bases loaded situation, 3-2, throws the pitch. Ottavino shoots it through, I would say, almost up the middle. Jeff McNeil can't quite get to it. Cannot quite get to it. Goes under the McNeil's glove. 2-run score. Puts it way out of reach for the New York Mets. That made it 5-2. Ball game over. Technically not over, but it was over at that point. So, after the inning, Buck comes out and he just starts screaming. And you know what? I saw actually a different version of Buck today. He was energetic. He cared. He always cared, but you can really see that he was a lot more passionate today. He got his vote of confidence from Steve Cohen, and he's trying to inspire these guys. He really is. Come on, guys, follow Buck. Do what you did last year. Is it possible? Do you want to be traded away? I don't know. It seems like that. So Buck got rung, and he had to do it. He just really had to do it, and maybe he was thinking it would inspire the guys for a ninth inning rally. No, didn't happen. Okay, so you had one of the most lackluster games all year. I came into this game so damn excited. I'm like, we're in it. I mean, the season, maybe we're going to save the season. Maybe Steve Cohen's going to help spur the organization. Maybe we're going to get a big win streak. But no, this is what bad teams do, and this is what they constantly do. You win a nice game, you lose the next game. You win 2 games, you lose 2 games. I mean, we are horrible. But I got my final decision coming. We gotta address this Steve Cohen. We gotta address the press conference, all right? Okay, so it was about a 22-minute press conference in all. And I was trying to notice little things about the press conference that are normally different from other press conferences. Okay, automatic difference is Steve Cohen is sitting down. He's relaxed. He's sitting at a Mets round table with a glass of water. So he's not angry, he's calm, he's cool, he's collective. In other situations, you see the owner behind the podium looking very stern, answering questions with passion, but his demeanor was extremely calm and cool. So I do appreciate that. If you got a guy in charge, you want the guy to be level-headed. You need him to be level-headed. And that's what he was trying to say. He's not making any drastic decisions. And plus, he's trying to attract outside talent. That doesn't look good. Okay, so let's look at all the main points. And we do have a bunch of them. So the first question is, what do you feel about the season? are you prepared for everything? And Steve Cohen, right off the bat, he said that he has discussed with his team and has prepared for all contingencies. There's a route he wants the team to go. Obviously, he intends the team to fight for a wild card, but he has prepared for all contingencies. So that is good to hear. And he said this a couple times, this next line. He goes, it's on the players, and he said this phrase about 3 or 4 times. He goes, they need to get their act together. They need to get their act together. These are veteran players. They're high-paid players. They have history. They have a track record. They're just not performing. Okay, so he blamed it. It is on the players. Okay, so he was also very, very adamant and insistent that Billy Epler has a lot on his shoulders. That Billy Epler should be joined with a president. Steve Cohen is trying to hire a president of baseball operations, number one, and he's trying to hire a president of the organization. So Steve Cohen is trying to hire 2 very top-tier players or pieces of this organization that we don't have. So he's trying to say Billy's got a lot on his shoulders. He has a lot. So I don't see him putting any of the blame on Billy at all. Really, at all. So Billy's doing it all by himself, and he's got Steve Cohen's vote of confidence. So I see Billy sticking around for a while. Based on the statements that we heard, Billy and Buck, and obviously we heard that both their jobs are safe for the year, but based on what Steve Cohen says, Billy Epler's job is safe for way longer than this year. Okay. All right, and another thing that I found very glaring was he continually blamed the Wilpons. He did. He kept saying that there was no pitchers in the farm system. The farm system was kind of barren. There was no infrastructure. And another thing, I just heard of this. He just opened up a pitching lab. He said other organizations had a pitching lab. I wasn't even familiar with what a pitching lab was, but apparently we just opened up a pitching lab. We're putting the resources in place. When he acquired the Mets, there was none of this in place. There was no infrastructure in place, and he said this a couple times, and he just kept saying, folks, to do this right, it takes time. It takes time to do it right. If you want to do things the wrong way, we can get this done in a second, but it'll be wrong. Just like I kind of think the way the team was built right now, putting a couple $100 million toward pitchers who are over the hill, that's just like kind of putting a Band-Aid. What the Mets are trying to do is now they're trying to build an infrastructure, and that's going to take a lot of time. The goal eventually is to get the payroll down. The payroll is high just so we can develop the talent. Okay, so then they asked Steve Cohen, what would you say to Steve Cohen, the fan? Steve Cohen said, at first I would apologize. I would tell the fans that, we are trying to deliver. And then he says, he actually gives us a lot of credit. He says that we are hanging on every single thing that the Mets do. We are very passionate. Yeah, so he gave the Met fan base a lot of credit. So everybody out there, it's another thing we should really be proud of because Steve Cohen is listening and he's trying to do things that make us happy. And I mean, as a businessman, he should be. We're paying a lot of money going to Citi Field, watching the team. And Steve Cohen, unfortunately, he's losing a lot of money. He said this is not a sustainable model. He's spending $350+ million a year, and he's losing so much money. So he reiterated that this is not sustainable. We have to develop talent. Okay. Okay, so now the last big point, and this was asked towards the end of the press conference. So they said if you're in a similar situation towards the end of like the trade deadline season, so let's just say July 25th, are you going to add players? Are you going to take on, more players? And he goes, no. If we're in this situation, and you can see this is like the first time that I kind of really saw him get aggravated at the end of the answer. He is not going to start adding talent if this team proves that if this team does not play better. We have to play better. We have to earn the talent. We have to earn it. Okay. I just want to make sure I have everything covered. Okay. All right. So those were basically the main points from the Steve Cohen press conference. And I just want to mention one thing about Francisco Lindor, because I was doing a lot of research about Francisco. I'm trying to do a series on Francisco. One of the series I'm comparing him to the shortstops in his class. I believe it was the 2021 shortstop class, and then we signed him before he actually got to that shortstop class, and I want to compare him to the shortstops in this class. But what I realized when I was looking at the advanced metrics, Francisco Lindor is literally number one. He has his highest metrics this year in a lot of categories, and I'll just give you one. His exit velocity that he hits the ball at 91.4 miles per hour. That is the hardest average exit velocity in his career. And I believe he's 17th in the entire Major League Baseball. So, I mean, you look at Francisco Lindor, he's not the biggest in stature guy, but, folks, he is hitting the ball hard this season. He is doing a really good job. So, I have a lot more detail. I want to do a lot more research on that, but I'm just shocked. If you look at Baseball Savant, his numbers are really, they're blowing me away. I see why he's getting paid $34 million. It's not translating to wins, but baseball is more of a team sport. But we got to give him credit this year for actually doing his job. Okay, so the end of the video, I wanted to give my take, how I feel about the Mets, and it's kind of tough, but I have to go 100% toward sell. I put a poll up yesterday night. I believe we got more than 100 votes toward this, and the answer was about 80-20, 75-25, and the larger number is sell and focus on 2024 and beyond. And I think that's got to be the correct route. We can't buy. We know this team. Look at what just happened. We have a perfect win yesterday. We look so wonderful, and then today we just spit the bit and just look terrible. This is what bad teams do. No matter how good we feel in a win, we just know that this team doesn't have what it takes to sustain and be successful over the course of the season. Even if we sneak in as a wild card, I still say it's not worth it. We got to ship off these players, and we actually have a lot of assets. Tommy Pham, look at the guy right now. He's building his value very, very high for a chip like that. If Eduardo Escobar netted us 2 top prospects, you got to assess the market. If the market is a seller's market, meaning we would get a lot of value if we sell, we have to take advantage. We really do. I don't know which other teams are sellers, and you would have to assume with the expanded playoffs that there's not going to be as many sellers as in past years. So if we're one of the few sellers with a lot of talent on our roster, I think that we could demand a premium for basically everyone. And if we decide, I'm 100%, I heard somebody say we should be interested in trading Pete Alonso. I'm not going that far. I'm really not. You need a core. You need some pieces to build around. Our young talent, we're obviously going to keep. Pete Alonso, we're going to keep. Nimmo, we're going to keep. And then everybody else is basically up for grabs. So what do you think about that? I've come to my conclusion. Thank you for everybody who participated in our poll. I think the majority of our community is basically sell. So if any of you who clicked on buy, please tell me if you've changed your opinion after this loss. The interesting thing is I put that poll after a win because I knew that if I put it after a loss, it was going to be a blowout to sell. I figured it would be a little more interesting after a win. But tell me if you think we should still be buying and hanging in there. Why? If you have some interesting opinions about selling, let's hear them as well. All right, again, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much. We are going to follow this Mets disaster. We're going to follow it. We can't take our eyes off it. It's a good thing the flag didn't fall down tonight, so that's a positive. So, all right, well, thank you so much. Have a great night, and let's go Mets.